Good morning and welcome to rather a special video. Today I have come down to visit Richard from Challenger Road. We're going to summarise the NEC auction sale values, go for a drive in that, and generally have a chat about the world of cars. So join me for a little day out and some car value chat with Richard, a channel favourite. So 3 litre, wide track, short wheelbase, engine in the back, absolutely ridiculous. I've never driven one of these before. Richard bought this recently because he's always fancied one, and he said basically it's currently one of his favourite cars. So we've got a few things that we're going to go and do today. We're going to use the Clio, and should be a lot of fun actually. Quite looking forward to giving this car a go. Because you missed out at the NEC, I bought you a very low mileage Escort Cosworth.
How many miles has it got?
0 actually.
0, right.
Yeah. Mint in box.
Thanks for that. I will keep that on my desk. Oh, there's a bit.
Yeah, there's not really much anywhere to put anything, is there? So this is number 255. No, this is number
332. 255 horsepower, phase 2.
Yeah.
So have you been in one of these? Well, probably not a V6.
Yeah, I've been in a 1.5 DCI.
Right.
Used to do 84 miles to the gallon.
Because there was the 172 of these.
There was the 172.
Cars.
Yeah.
And I think there was a 182.
There was a 182 as well. The 172 was the first one to come out, and then the 182.
Yeah, well, it's one of my absolute favourite cars now.
Yeah. It's been.
And as I say, it's not quite the driving position. Say it feels a bit more like a go-karty type of position, where the steering wheel's just off, but it makes you feel like you are really driving.
Yeah. It sounds amazing.
I know. Once we warm it up, the engine is fantastic. I love it.
I'm not sure anyone's ever tried to do an auction review whilst driving a V6 Clio, so I'm going to see if we can make it work. So how long have you owned this one then? Not
long. I mean, I've only had it probably, I'd say, 3 weeks. It was a really impulsive buy. I've always loved this car.
Yeah.
And I've looked at others in the past, but I thought the phase 1 might have been the one that would be more valuable.
Yeah.
But then when I've looked into it, that one really did turn round very quickly.
Yeah.
And the phase 2 drove better.
Yeah.
I think that Renault got involved near the end.
Yeah.
On phase 2s on the suspension.
Yeah.
And I think they just tightened it down because the reviews. I think even in a lot of the original test drives.
Yeah.
I love this engine. People were spinning them. But also tyres have moved on a lot since then.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember the era of this car would have been M3 CSL, and they actually put a guide in there to say don't drive it in the rain.
Right.
If you remember, it was like a cup, probably one of the first cup tyres back then.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a caveat on if it's wet, you will crash.
You will crash.
Right, what are you going for first?
Let's take a look. So I'm going to go from the top. Right. We had the XJCR Resto Mod Jaguar. That was a charity lot, which was pretty cool. That one did £63,000 for
good.
charity.
They wanted 50, didn't they?
Yes.
So that's good.
Yeah. So that's a great result. And then you got a 557-mile Citroen 2C V6 Special, one owner, 22.5 grand. Pretty high for a 2CV. Not your thing?
Not really my thing, but I appreciate them. As in, I thought that they looked like, I'd say, cool.
Yeah.
You know, it would be something my art teacher drove.
Yes. Yeah. M3 E46 Coupe, 34,000 miles, 29.5 grand.
I think Harry Metcalf bought that car.
You think Harry Metcalf bought that car?
Because on the auction it said, there you go, Harry, it's your car.
Right.
But I wasn't there and I couldn't see if he was there, but I think it must be.
Okay.
So, and he spoke about it in the auction as one of his. It's one of my all-time favourite cars I've had.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see if we see that on his channel. Escort RS Turbo, Series 2, with only 29,000 miles, 38,000 quid. Now, does that look a bit cheap to you in the context of what the Cosworth did?
You know what, I really struggle with them cars. There is a comment on my channel at the moment I haven't replied to, saying about XR3s and I don't know, I'm not sure if I see them using this engine. So.
Sorry, what did you say?
but like the RS Turbo, I remember, I think I've got a picture of it somewhere, but I had some of my cars in a storage and there was a white RS Turbo.
Yeah.
And it just bought it at auction for 80,000, and I'm going back probably 8 years.
Yeah.
And I said, it can't be 80,000 because it's more than an Escort Cosworth, which was doing my brain in. I was like, what? And then they said, oh, you can't sit in it because all the interior falls apart.
Right.
So you couldn't even, and then the exhaust was rusty, and I don't get it with it. I just don't. But again, it's the nostalgia. If you had that car, I didn't have that car. A lot of my friends did.
Yeah.
They love them. So yeah.
Lot number 105, Evo Lancer 5 GSR in white, 20,000 quid.
A weird one, the 5. I really like the 5. That wasn't in very good condition when I walked around.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get you to shout.
Yeah, I don't know if the 5. Yeah, I know. It's just so good, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go. There's a bit of noise. I think the Evo 5. It's a long way behind the 6 in values, and I thought it would come back up, but it just doesn't seem to. So
Seems like
that's about right.
Decent car for the money, but 20,000 quid when everything else is going up. Then you got a 996 Carrera 2 for £12,000. That's looking pretty affordable if you want to get into a Porsche for cheap.
Yeah, and I just showed you the 997s that I'm building.
Yep.
I built one with a friend, and they look. I'd probably have the 997 over the 996 because of the lights. There is a conversion on 996. You can convert it to 997 lights now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's a Porsche, 12 grand. I don't think you can't really go wrong.
No.
So.
I don't think you can get a Kia Picanto for that. Toyota Supra twin turbo manual sold for an undisclosed sum. Did you watch that one go through?
No, I don't.
I can't remember what that one went through. I wish.
mean, I saw that black UK car there, and I really, really want one of those cars. I really want a Toyota Supra, a standard one, UK one turbo. That's what I'd really like.
Yeah.
It won't be as good as this. This engine sings.
It sounds so good. Yeah, so I don't really agree with an auction house putting undisclosed sum on there. Don't have a public auction and then not tell us what it sold for afterwards. People were there and they can remember.
Yeah, and it always worries to me, does that mean it sold for so much that you don't want to know?
Yeah.
Or so little?
Because they put undisclosed on the Escort Cosworth.
Yeah, I saw
but everybody
that.
knows that it's 185 or 202 with the fees. So it makes no sense. Bentley Arnage, 20 grand. We talked about Bentleys at the show, didn't we? You decided that you're not old enough for one.
No, I need to be another 20 years older, I think.
No, when you get your silk pyjamas. Lancia Delta HF Integrale Evo 2, 43,000 kilometres, did 91,000 quid.
Still so strong, Lancias, and I see them going more.
Yeah.
I see them going more, you know, not as much as this Clio. Such a good car.
It's so much fun.
Can't beat this car.
It's solid, isn't it? It's really solid.
The ride and everything.
Yeah.
It's just like.
And then we're on to lot number 110, which is the Escort Cosworth.
Yeah, I was actually in. Well, we were messaging, weren't we?
We were.
I was actually in a little bit of shock because obviously that was the car I thought I wanted you to maybe bid on. I'm glad we didn't, because obviously I'd have to probably sell something.
We were stood at the show next to it, taking into account the auction fees, thinking 85 grand, 50, 100, 120, and we were both way off.
Well, I think it's because I've seen the prices soften.
Yeah.
So because you know, like my sort of car, 28,000 mile car, I thought it was going to go up a bit, and and they're staying around 70, 75.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I thought, right, a 2,000 mile car should be 115 around. I think I said about 100 because the fees were like 15 grand.
Yeah,
so
15% fees.
So I think I said 105. So I think I was 120.
Yeah.
Obviously, I knew the world record.
He had,
He
had a good old stare at this car.
It was 163.
Yeah.
So if it's 163 for a 76 mile as new car, a 2,000 is quite a lot of miles on in this world of miles. That's quite a long way on. So when it kept going up, I actually videoed the auction on that car because it stalled. So it went to like 100 and then took a bit of time and then it stalled at 150.
Yeah.
And that, you know what I said to you, that sometimes you get that, I'll try and make the engine a bit quieter, but you get that period where 2 or 3 guys are now in.
Yeah.
And you've got your mates or whatever, and you're thinking, I want that car now, and now you want it too much. And it just goes a bit more, and it goes, and then it sort of gets out of control.
And the auctioneer even said, "Come on, sir, you've gone this far." When we'd gone from 100 to about 158, and then it started picking up again.
Yeah. And then to go to that level, what I'm trying to understand, this is for the viewers, I think for us as we're talking, is trying to think. So does that make my 28,000 mile 140?
Yeah.
Or does it stay at 75? Because the purple one we saw, I think, went for 63.
Yeah.
So, or does the 76 mile car now become 300,000?
Yeah. Does that pull up the prices of all cars, or was it an anomaly?
And I was looking on the forums on Facebook, because I'm on quite a lot of different forums, and I was on a Cosworth one, and they were saying that they wasn't sure it pulls up the values. They think that person's maybe paid a lot for that car, but oh, it's difficult because they don't make them anymore.
No.
But I did see, I had a look round, and obviously I've got to research this because I went there because I was interested in that car.
Yeah.
And I did see a 500 mile white car sell not long ago, and obviously it was nowhere near that money.
Yeah.
So I think it's a bit high.
Yeah.
But the next one will be interesting.
Yes.
It's like the RS 500 we were talking about.
Absolutely.
If you pay, was it $500,000? I'm trying to remember back. It was
$500,000 for an RS 500, and the rumour is that it was two
guys wanted her very wealthy, and they both wanted that car.
Yeah.
But then everyone went, oh bloody hell, my one, Jeff, 300 grand you can pay for that now.
But actually, it was just you and me in the auction, and we were just trying to outdo each other. It wasn't necessarily about the car.
Yeah, and that's what can happen. And then prices, everyone feels their 100,000 mile ones, they're 100 grand.
Yeah, that's right. Because as we said in I think your video, as soon as cars start to do big money in auction, suddenly everybody pulls them out of their council garages that they've been renting for however long. And then these cars suddenly start to come around, which is why you get an auction car coming through and the auctioneer saying you'll never find another one. Yeah. And then a week later there's 3 of them.
Yeah, and that can happen as well, because they all start, I mean, there is a lot of RS 500s have come up for sale recently.
Yeah, there are.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Then lot number 111, another fast forward. It was the Rouse Sport Cosworth Sapphire, 2,800 miles, 84 grand. I don't know, I'm not going to pretend to know much about the Rouse.
Such a good car. It's such a good car.
I'm not going to pretend to know much about the Rouse Sport car, so I've not got much to say.
I've driven a Sapphire Cosworth. I remember when I was a lot younger, and a guy had one, and he let me drive it at the golf club. Yeah. And he said, "Richard, this is an amazing car. It's four-wheel drive." That might. I think the Sapphire was 4-wheel drive. I did see that car, and it's tricky because I don't know. 91,000 seems like a lot of money. Yeah. But find another one with that one.
And being a Rouse Sport as well, it was probably
exactly. They were, you know, I think they were more horsepower and tuned. And, and he was the guy at the time.
Yeah. And then 54,000 mile Golf GTI. Again, it's saying undisclosed sum. I can't remember what that went for. So maybe I have to gloss over that. And then the Supra as well, which you mentioned, undisclosed 4,000 mile Supra. 911 993 Cabriolet, 57,000 miles at 42 grand. I think that looks like a decent buy, because 993s they went mad for a little while.
I don't like the Cabriolet.
No, I think not many people do.
I think the roof doesn't sit well with the car, whether it's up or down.
No, I would agree on that.
That's the problem with that car.
With the 993. Yep. Toyota Land Cruiser VX Turbo 1992, 21 grand. People like those old Land Cruisers, don't they?
Yeah, and I like that little Vauxhall.
The little Vauxhall?
Was that the one you were saying? Was there a VX?
No, there was a VX, another Sapphire Cosworth, 31,000 miles, 69 grand for a red one. You don't see many of those Sapphire Cosworths in red. But yeah, do you remember when Sapphire Cosworths were £2,000 in Auto Trader?
Well, you look at 22Bs and all them. I've got loads of old stuff on them. You know.
Escort van, £21,000. Someone's always going to buy a van, aren't they? An old Escort van, 1974. And then we got an XR3i at 25,000 quid. So we've got the RS Turbo.
Was that okay? Because that was that comment the guy said about XR3Is. I didn't see that one.
Yeah, so it's 12,000 miles, 3 owners, 25,300 quid. But again, they all got stolen. They all got wrapped around trees and
rust.
And rust.
But then does that mean that there's just not many?
Yes.
And is that making them?
Yeah, that's right.
And do we care? You know, I'm just talking about this and values and like sometimes. I mean, I bought like I just said, I bought like my mum's Golf GTI. She had not her car, but a Golf GTI because it meant something to me.
Yes.
Now, how much are you willing to pay then for something that means to you when you can't get that from new cars?
Absolutely.
You can't make them have a history, an electric car, because there is no history.
So if there's enough people in the room and online bidding that have a connection to a car, it's always going to have that value. I guess the only question would be the generational shift on when the people that have a connection to the XR3i, that generation moves on to the Sapphire Cosworth, the Escort Cosworth, and things change, don't they? And interestingly, I think there's two unsold Ford Escort Mexicos in this auction,
right? Which
is in line with the generational shift. Lot 119 and 120, Sierra RS Cosworth, 8,000 miles, 115,000, and the 95 Cosworth Lux in Aubergine, 70,000 quid.
Was that 70,000?
70,000 with the premium, yeah. Seemed like a lot of money, or is that where maybe that's just where they are now?
Seemed like a lot of car.
It seemed like.
Do you know? I would probably have that over the white one, just because on the day when we were there, the white one didn't seem as impressive in white.
No.
And you know, I know I've seen there's some comments on my thing saying, but Richard, white was the colour, but I don't think it suits the car. I think the darker cars show the lines better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would have been like, if you were bidding on that, I would say that's a good buy.
Yeah. Yeah. Lot 121 is a 1980 911 3.3 turbo, 168,000 quid. That did.
LE, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
which is pretty desirable, and again, it's another one that Harry highlighted in his video as being one to choose.
Although I think he said over 200, didn't it?
Over 200.
So that's a bit low.
We'll have to have a look and edit it back in. So yeah, 168. I think you're right, actually. I think he did say over 200. Then we got a Ford Capri at 34,000 quid, Mark 1 1600L. I got no relation to a Capri at all, not at all.
I've got friends who just love Capris, like they used to have them in the day and they want them. Same bit like Renault 5 turbos.
Yeah.
And I think, like we're saying, it seems like a lot of money, but is it a lot of money? Because if you look at some of the new cars being, say, 40 grand.
Yeah.
For an electric Hawaii, whatever.
It was 40 grand for anything these days, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, I said to someone the other day, every time I get a plumber or a builder, everything's £1,000. It doesn't matter what I have done, it's £1,000.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And then I got an Audi Quattro 20 valve at £60,000.
I've been close to buying them. I was in the auction on one in collecting cars. It's funny because you have eras of cars, and I think I used to like it and I appreciate it, but I never bought one. I never wanted one, but now I do think they're probably built so well. Yeah. As being an Audi, and do I go back in? I don't know. Is it? Yeah. Is it good value? Yeah. So I haven't driven one. Like to drive one.
Porsche 924 Carrera GT. The Carrera GT was slightly more special, wasn't it? And that one did £56,000. Seems like a lot of money for.
Quite a lot. Yeah.
I'm sure that's a 944 as well. It looks to me like they've. Is that a 944?
It looks like a 944.
It looks like a 944, but it's a 924. But yeah,
and the 944s I do really like. Yes. I think they're a good buy. I think that the turbo, I think they've done a 220 and a 250 horsepower. Yeah. But if you could get one of those, I think they're a good buy. Yeah. Look nice, pop-up lights.
And then an RS 500 again, 47,000 miles at 110,000 quid, which again doesn't quite seem to make sense if RS 500s are now £500,000 quid, does it?
That you could drive that as well,
and you could drive it because it's sensible mileage.
Yeah.
Cosworth 190 E Mercedes, 32,000. These are coming up.
These are, aren't they?
These are coming up. And then the Lotus Carlton, which was a higher mileage car, I think 92 or something like that.
I was always into the M5, but I really appreciate the Lotus Carlton. How much was it?
That did £56,000.
Well, I was offered one recently, and I would say in the last 6 months, and they wanted 100.
Yes. So mileage
and what's
dependent.
the mileage?
That was a higher mileage one,
Right, okay.
but lower mileage ones are now 6 figures.
Yeah.
But again, a car it's got all that lore with it, hasn't it? Aston Martin Viridge Coupe, the old square shaped Aston from the 90s. Do they do much for you?
Not really.
No.
Aston's a bit funny for me at the moment. I've got a lot of worries with Astons.
Yeah.
I think the new ones have come out and they're just so high. I mean, when I originally had a Vantage, I remember it was £86,000.
Yeah.
You're now like, it's 180 an extra. It's 220,000 for the baby Vantage. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you, in your mind, you think, will that pull these older ones up?
Yeah.
Like the new Vanquish, what's that, 350?
220, is that an entry level Aston then?
Yeah.
So they're not competing with, what's an entry level 911 these days? Because they're not on. So you're twice the price of a Porsche for entry level Aston. I didn't realise
GT, you're almost up there with GT. Well, you're way past GT3.
I didn't realise that was the case.
Yeah, I think they're about 160, 70, but you can't get one for that because by the time you put on, you're going to want sat nav and
yes, yeah,
and they charge a fortune for stuff.
Yeah.
But it's whether, the problem is at the moment is Aston are losing a lot of money as well, so I worry about dealerships, and it almost needs more independent Aston dealers coming through to manage these cars as well.
Yeah. Then I've got a Datsun 240Z at £44,000. That looked like a clean car. And there's a huge following on those. And then the BMW Z1 that we both talked about.
I saw that, yeah.
£43,000. I think the estimate was 35, something like that.
So there was a few that went over, wasn't there?
There are, yeah.
But not as many as we probably thought.
No. And then you've got the Z8, we talked about those as well, £165,000 on the Z8.
When you spoke about them, I went back and started looking at prices.
Yeah.
Because I remember them back, thinking when they were 85,
yes,
maybe 90, thinking this could be a good bet.
Yeah.
But it's going now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're on their way.
Do you think that could be 300 though?
I can see a Z8 at 300. Yeah. And I think it's a very special car. You've got the James Bond connection.
Thing,
very low numbers, very desirable on the continent. So yeah, I can see that up there. 911 Club Coupe, 2013, £186,000. Don't know much about those. And then Vanquish S. That was the black one, £43,000. Those Vanquishes are looking stupidly cheap.
If I said to you on them cars that you could buy 5 of them, for less than that Cosworth, because I think one went for 40,
one's at 40.
It's just doesn't make any sense to me. That was the flagship Aston Martin. In the time.
And they were 150,000 when they were.
If you put a personal plate on it and turned up at an event, and the Escort Cosworth is 5 times its value.
But again, from an investment point of view, what are you going to have more growth on? One Escort Cosworth at £200,000, or 4 or 5 Aston Martin Vanquishes? It's an interesting when you put it that way. Then we've got what we got. We've got the 911 Supersport Cabriolet, which is undisclosed sum. Datsun 260Z at 37, so about the same as the other one. Low mileage 911 convertible at £20,000. That looked like a bargain with 16,000 miles if you like convertibles. And then an RS 2000 Escort 1977, £25,000. So it was restored Mark II RS 2000.
That was quite good value.
Yeah, I thought that was good value as well.
I don't know what the estimate was, but I'm good in my head. He's getting into those older Fords for something. I'm looking at a few of them.
But maybe we are starting to reach a saturation point where the people that want them have got them, and they're going to start to drop a little as the newer Fords come through. Malcolm
Wilson was talking on a podcast, and they said, what rally car would you have? And he said, I'd just have the old Escort. He said that's just because I expect you just had so much fun.
Yes, and rear wheel drive.
It made me think quite like those.
Rear wheel drive pre-turbo. That Aston Martin Vantage V8 Race Collection Coupe, £51,000.
6 or 500 miles.
Yes, it was.
Cheap
with 500 miles.
And that's what just makes me not. I don't understand. It's not I don't understand. I don't comprehend these values because I think that was left-hand drive.
Yes.
And It's a 500. It's a new car.
Yeah, yeah, it's done 500 miles. Yeah, it's brand new. So that's incredible.
But is the person sitting there thinking it's going to go 100 or it's not going to go anywhere?
Yeah.
Do you know? It's
Yeah,
weird.
absolutely. And then lot number 139 is a 1956 Mercedes-Benz 190 SL, restored at 57,000 quid. Now, knowing what I know about the Mercedes market, that's half price.
And it looks 500 grand.
And it looks 500
That's
grand.
what I was actually interested in them. I
Yeah.
think they're cool, like super cool.
They are.
But you just got to think when you drive it, you need the perfect English summer's evening,
That's right.
and you're going to get that twice a year.
Twice a year,
Yeah.
exactly. But 57,000 quid for that is just absolutely no money. And also, there's a Pagoda here, 230 SL Pagoda, £36,000. That's been given away. That's been absolutely given away. Then we've got a Series 2 4.2 litre E-Type Roadster, £36,000. That was given away as well.
You said, but I was talking to you about them, wasn't I? And I said they were like 100 odd. They were going up and up and
Yeah,
up.
they were.
And I was looking at them. I think they went well above 100. I don't know
Yep.
the exact models I'm driving, but
Yeah,
that is a giveaway car. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
36 grand for an E-Type.
Unless
that
there's
looks like
something
that.
really wrong with it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then how far wrong can it be? I mean,
Yep.
it's got wheels.
It's got wheels, that'll do us. And then you've got a 1959 Alvis at just £24,000. Again, it just says to me that these 50s and 60s cars, they've plateaued and now they're dropping back down, because you can see it in the auction results.
Yeah.
Another one here, E-Type, 25,000 miles, Series 2, 4.2, 30,000 quid.
What?
That's a coupe. So, I mean,
I
it's a
remember one of those. I was offered one, and they wanted like 60 at
Yeah.
least. This is a couple of years ago. At least 60.
Yeah, £30,000. And this one as well, a Jensen Interceptor Series 3, 30,000 quid. Interceptors were way above that.
I thought they were like 78.
Yeah. Volkswagen Caddy Sport.
But hold on, but what happens then? Do you say now all them prices have come down?
I
So
think-
where do you? This is when it starts. This is what I like. I love this.
Yeah.
Like, does that mean that if there's a Jensen online that I look at today and it's 60 grand, I can start going, well, I think it's only 40.
I think we're there. Yeah, I do think we're there.
No.
Yeah, I think we're there. I was playing around the other day on eBay, and there was a Mercedes Pagoda, a red one, and I'd noticed that it hadn't sold at an auction in the week before, and it was on eBay, and it was ticking down. It had a reserve on it, and I thought, I'm going to bid on that. I don't have the money, but I thought I'm going to bid on it to see what happens.
Right.
And I think I bid £30,000. I didn't win. The auction finished at 31, and I emailed the guy and said, how much buys the car? And he needed 60. But it's gone to an auction and hasn't sold, and then it's gone on eBay and hasn't sold. What are you doing with your car?
Yeah.
What are you buying a car? Volkswagen Caddy Sport at 15 grand. 15 grand for a Caddy pickup truck.
I think it's quite cool though.
Yes, very
You know,
cool. And then you got the Skoda Felicia Fun, which is the yellow pickup truck at 10 grand. They all rotted away sadly, because I really like those. They had the pull out back, so they had 4 seats, but you had to pull the roof off to get the rear seats out. It was really cool. And then that Z4 that we were looking at, the 3 litre SI, the greeny yellow one, 8,000 quid.
8,000.
Don't know whether that's here or there, but I'll tell you what,
That's cheap.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I thought was an absolute bargain, the 2 Ferraris. First one up here is
Yeah, we spoke about that.
the 575 Maranello, the black one, 35,000 miles, 49.5 grand. What a great looking car for
With
that
the
money.
F1 gearbox.
Yeah.
As to which you care.
Then you got a couple of the Recreations, which I'm going to skip over. I won't skip over them because Harry talked about them. The Gullwing did 162 grand, but it's not.
But wasn't that like an MR2? No,
That one was, no, it was an SLK, but it was using a lot.
SLK, sorry. Yeah, sorry, no.
And they were great and everything, but I quite like the way in Harry's video he near as damn it said that they're. I'm not going to say it. So we'll skip over those, and then we're back down onto the Express car Sapphire Cosworth that did 32. That now seems quite well bought.
Yeah.
4x4. It's in Moonstone Blue.
And that's the funny thing with some of the auctions. If you haven't got the person there,
Yeah.
then does the car just go whatever it is because that's the lowest? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's how it
absolutely.
affects price. Like, you know, if you're there at the right time. I mean, there's a 6R4 Metro rally one that went recently for like 110.
Really?
And there's one on collecting cars at 270.
Wow.
So, but everyone's going in our groups I've got. They're going, should have bought it, should have bought it, should have bought it, because maybe they're there and they think, well, it's going to go higher, and it doesn't, and the hammer comes down.
Yeah.
And you're done.
And then that's it. Yeah. Yeah. And then our Vanquish, which was the green one we both liked.
Oh, I should have bought that.
43,000 quid.
I should have got you to buy that. That was lovely.
We should have had that one. Yeah, that was very nice. Ferrari 512 BB. They were at like supercar money. That's done 100. Oh no, it's unsold. Buy it now for 173. So not sold on the day.
Right. Okay.
But it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I don't think the 512 BB looks as impressive as some of the other Ferraris, and yet you have to pay the money for it.
And if you want a GTO, you're up at 5 million now.
Yeah.
So does it look?
Does it look like a bargain?
We're talking about that probably for another video, haven't we, about the values?
Yeah, that's right. A few newer things here which I don't really understand, so I'm going to skip over those. Impreza STI Pro Drive 2002.
Black one.
18 grand.
Is it the black? Yeah, the black one.
Yeah.
Next to the Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
I like Subarus.
Yeah.
I'm not sure on the front lights, but it's growing on.
Yeah.
Growing on, so that's good value.
Yeah. And then there's the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo, the Vale side one with the body kit on. Unsold, but buy it now for 60,000 quid. Do you value the Vale side body kit on it?
I would take it off.
Yeah.
If I wanted to get maximum value, I think it was a sprint car. There was only so many 18, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. They just don't see
I would take it off and just have it as what it should have been. Because it was a sprint anyway.
Yeah. And then Ferrari 360 Medina at £53,000, 30,000 miles.
Everyone keeps saying they're the next one to go up.
They're great looking cars.
Yeah, own two.
Yeah. And then the 430 Scuderia that we talked about in the auction, unsold, but buy it now 170.
It's too much.
Too much.
Less than that on Auto Trader now.
Are they?
Yeah, I bet you could go on there and be 160 something. And I did say to you at the time, it's really weird. I've obviously owned a few of them.
Yeah.
They just seem to be not quite going at the moment. I don't know. There's too many of these V8 special editions. They're not special enough anymore.
Yeah. That Bentley Continental T that I quite liked, 50,000 quid.
20 years time, it'd be a good car then.
Yeah. And then you've got a Land Rover Defender Heritage Edition with 695 miles. Now you'd think with everything that's going on that would have done big money, but it's unsold at 75 grand.
I just love them old Defenders. I almost bought one.
Yeah.
I really like them. I really like them. I'd have one maybe with a big V8.
Yeah.
And go through. I don't know.
Maybe that's why that didn't sell, because it's the diesel, and if it had been a V8 it would have gone. Yeah. This one I think looks a bargain. It's a 1973 BMW 3 litre CSL, 81,000 quid.
That sounds good value.
That does sound good value, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Another Datsun at 32 grand, and then the Skyline R34 that we looked at, £99,000. About right?
I don't know the mileage on it, but I am looking at Skylines all the time. I think I'm of the opinion with them Skylines. I think they've got a bit toppy.
Yeah.
And obviously I own one, and I've sold one at high levels.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was offered a car, an R34 newer, and they're still like 300,000-400,000.
Ouch.
You know, and I don't know. Maybe it's like the Subaru. Maybe I'm wrong, and they will. They're saying they're going to go to £1 million.
I think they have to, because of the Fast and Furious generation coming through.
This is what. These
So
modern. And I'm worried about, can I get one?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be my one. I was offered one the other day.
Yeah. I think when all the people that have grown up watching Fast and Furious start coming through and buying cars, your Skylines and your Supras,
I love that. That's what my collection is.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we've got the McLaren 675 LT. We've got an unsold Alpine A110 Premier Edition, but then this McLaren 675 LT, bidding stalled at 100,000 quid on that, didn't it?
Yeah, I saw that and I thought, oh my god.
It's a little bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
Because the buy now is 160, but it didn't get anywhere near in the hall.
I spoke to a friend on that car, and they know that is like a really heavily tracked McLaren.
Right.
So I think it wasn't a great one.
Right.
So I don't think that will be representative of 675s.
Yeah.
And I think actually that's probably too much.
Yes.
That's 161. Is that right?
So you got the most leggy example. Yeah.
Exactly. You might as well pay 200 and have a 10,000 miles.
Yes. Yeah. Ferrari California unsold, but buy it now at £276,000. That's 6,500 miles.
Is that a manual?
That is a manual, yeah.
Yeah. So I've heard some of them are going for 300-400.
Yeah. but unsold on the day.
Such a difference between manual and automatic, isn't there?
That's what you were saying in your videos. That's a 100 grand premium for a manual gearbox. That 911 930 LE did £208,000.
Oh, maybe it was.
So maybe we got the wrong way around. And then the red 911 996 Turbo S, 16,000 miles. I thought this looked a bargain. 57,000 quid, but it's buying out. Wasn't sold. Maybe it's the red wheels that were putting people off.
Yeah, I like that car.
I like that car a lot as well. Yeah, I thought that looked a good buy. XJS V12 at £44,000, but that was a very special car. That was the Insignia Coupe 5,000 miler, so can't really say much about that. Twin Cam Mark 1 Escort, £73,000, but that's an ex-Mix Bryant car, so it's a well-known rally car. But is that cheap?
How much was that?
73?
That's what I mean. That's the sort of car I could get for the collection, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that, you know, that's
An established rally car, I think that's looking quite cheap based on where they've been. And then you've got a Mark 1 Mexico here, 1973, at only £38,000. I do think these early Escorts are coming down.
So some people we feel have got some very good deals.
Yes.
And some people we feel have paid like way too much.
Yes. Yeah, that's right, because we've now got lot 182 and 183. They're both Mark 1 RS 2000s, both unsold. One is now buy it now at 92, one is buy it now at 46.
Yeah.
But no one in the hall for either of those, and no one online. Seems odd to me. Mini Mocha at 16 grand. It's a bit of fun though, isn't it, for 16 grand?
Oh yeah, that's...
And then you've got the Fiat Abarth Rally Stradale that did 50. Maserati Merak unsold. The Chris Rea Ferrari 308 GT4 Dino, £64,000. That seems to be carrying a lot of weight because of the Chris Rea name, because they're normally a lot cheaper than that.
And again, are these older Ferraris now too old?
I wonder if it's getting that way.
I think
so. I mean, you know, would you buy the 355? Would you push a bit further and get a 355 instead?
And is the 360 going to then take over? That's the one I want. I mean, I love the 355. It's my favourite, probably ever car.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted. But then, as soon as the 360 came out, I wanted the 360. You know.
Yeah. And then flat nose Porsche 911 Targa. Flat nose Targas were going for quite a bit of money a little while ago, and that's done £50,000. For the flat nose,
cheap.
I think that's cheap.
Yeah, I was looking at one to buy one a while ago. It was a lot more than that.
Yeah, I really like the flat
I like
nose.
the look of it as well.
Yeah. And then an MG RV8 at 20,000 quid. I think there's too many of those around. Too many RV8s and not enough buyers. Triumph Dolomite Sprint, 20 grand.
Don't know much about
Don't know. Ford Escort RS 2000, 1980, 28,000 miles from new, 37 grand.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Is it for that?
No, that seems very cheap to me.
Do you know what I like about them cars? Is you can probably service it all yourself.
Yeah, you could,
Do you know like that ownership thing for people coming into classic cars and that, being able to, you know, not have to maybe go to. I know you can go to a specialist and they can do, but you could just tinker a little bit yourself.
Spark plugs, a distributor, some H2 leads, an ignition coil. Yeah. And then you got these RS 200s, 8,000 mile RS 200 at £236,000. I sort of see that as being a bit of a bargain.
Yeah.
Homologation rally car. Subaru Legacy RS, 20 grand.
I really like that.
I like that a lot, but mostly because it's got gold wheels. I like anything with gold wheels.
And you could use that.
Oh, you could, yeah.
I think that would be a strong car.
Very usable car. And again, another one to put in the context of, let's say you want to go buy a new Audi S4, 60, 70,000 quid. You can rock around in that and take it to Cars and Coffee.
Yeah, and it's cool. I like that.
Another 911, 1989, unsold. And then a Ferrari 412. Now that's a funny one, isn't it? Because they're V12 and they're notoriously difficult. 54,000 quid. I don't really see that as being neither here nor there, because people don't seem to want that shape Ferrari.
And again, it's that age again, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, that's right. 944 Turbo, unsold at 24 grand. Now that's interesting, because that's another one that Harry highlighted in his video. but unsold.
These were 10 or 12, and they've seen a little rise now.
Yeah.
And now everyone has to recalculate that and go, are they worth?
Yes.
Sold at 24 plus 15. Are they 30?
Yes. Yeah, that's
but
right.
We almost need people to go there.
Yeah.
For people to go there.
Because we're not quite used to seeing 944s at that money. Yeah, you're spot on. And then another Sapphire 4x4 at 37,000 quid.
Oh well, that's good value. Yeah.
They're kind of languishing around that region, then, aren't they? That Z3M Coupe did 60. Oh no, didn't unsold. Buy it now for 64.
Right.
So perhaps the money was just a bit strong on that, and
I like those.
I like those a lot. It just didn't quite get there. And then the last one is
although I did say on that video, and I think you said as well, can we see them going any more?
Yeah.
Do you remember? And,
yeah.
And I think Harry highlighted this car. He said, can you see them at 100? Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe they're going to stay at an 80k car.
And I just can't. I'd have to have the Roadster. I
oh yeah, you said that as well.
Do it.
Yeah,
as cool as they are, I couldn't quite do it. But also, it was red. Maybe if it had been in Estoril blue,
yeah,
I could have gone there. Yeah. And the last one was the Ferrari 456 GT that we both liked. Blue with tan leather, 31,500 quid.
I think you personal plate that. You look a rock star.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really do. I just think that's just, we should have bought them.
Yeah, I expect a Dacia Duster, right? Once you add a few options, you're almost there.
Next time I'll give you my wallet, and then you can just say, Richard, you bought this.
I'll just tell
Have
you
you got any room?
Brilliant. Right, so that is our summary of the auction. I've no idea whether the audio came out, so I'll add subtitles and everything. And I hope you enjoyed the sound of the Clio V6.
Should have a bit more sound.
Yeah, go on there. Just to conclude with that.
It's a beautiful car.
The thing is, it's not too much, is it? It doesn't. It's not like it's not totally wild.
Do you know what? People who watch these videos, they've had these cars, these older cars. In first and second, I feel like I'm just revving the nuts off it, but I'm not going very fast.
Yeah.
And that's what and that's what we used to do, because it
Yeah.
made us feel like we're driving. When you get a McLaren, or you know, you are going so quickly, so fast. Even sometimes I say my eyes can't keep up.
Yeah.
You know, with the actual pace, it's like everything's fast forward. All you're doing is thinking, I'm going to lose my license back, and that's why I sold them.
Yeah.
That's why I don't drive them on the road.
Yeah.
At least I can stay under 60 mile an hour and enjoy every moment, every gear change, and I can change gear as slow as I want, or as fast as I can heel and toe, and I can just do whatever I want in this car.
But people are staring at it as if we were in an Aventador.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think I'd take this over any Ferrari, maybe F40, but if you went to a Cars and Coffee now, all the time, this car, and that's why I keep looking at more of them, because I said to you, didn't I? I didn't realise it would be this good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, superb fun. Brilliant. Cool. Right, that'll do, I think.